Do you hear it? Beautiful. Listen closely to the anthem of your demise.
Through the dark veil of space and time. This is Warp Chatter.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Warp Chatter podcast coming from the Eye of Terror studios. This is the Warp Chatter podcast, a podcast about the digital card game Horus Heresy Legions. I am your host, Scuff D. This is a podcast by players for players talking all things Legions, 40k, Warhammer 40,000 in general. And with me I've got a couple of players who have not been on yet before, but have been long-standing players in the game community. So we're going to meet and talk with them. And then today's episode, we're recording this the day that the Imperial Fists launch. We're going to be talking about the new cards, first impressions more than anything, not doing a full breakdown, but just how do they rack up? How do they compare? How did the spoilers versus the expectation meet? And then take a look at the new event, and we'll go from there. So, with all that aside, I've got my crab co-host with me, Axel Manning.
Tonight's episode is sponsored by Warp Dust. It's like cocaine, but you may grow tentacles.
Okay. I don't know if I want that, but this is the Eye of Terror Studios, so I'll take it.
You'll take what you get.
Take what you can get. And then LCFR.
Hello, my friends.
Hello. So typically what we do at the start of the episode when we've got players on, kind of give a general, maybe some time to do some introduction, talk a little bit about yourself, what you do in the game, how long you've been playing, what got you into Legions. So LCFR, you want to tell us a little bit of something about yourself?
What to say. I'm an old dog here, I suppose. I've been playing the game since shortly after the beta, so maybe not as old a dog as you, Scuff. Maybe not quite. You've been playing since the beta, haven't you?
Yes.
Scuff is older than time itself.
I think I'm at 1,115 days, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, you're ancient evil in this game. That's good. I'm pretty ancient, you know. I've been playing since the Salamanders, since the Istvan 5 release, and then playing pretty extensively with the game as it grew, and probably have been on a break the last year, or maybe the last year and a half. But before that, I'd play pretty hard. I like the competitive side of the game quite a bit. I usually enjoy playing traders. I think I've classically enjoyed their lore more. I'm a tabletop player. I'm a 40k and a fantasy player, but I never played any Imperial. I'm Xeno scum, and so the next closest thing you'd get me to play was Chaos Marines. So the most I know about Space Marines actually is all from Legions, which is pretty cool. Like, I've learned a fuck ton about Space Marines, and they're pretty awesome, actually, I have to say.
That's right, they are.
Yeah, I have. You know what? Even my crusty Xeno scum ass has come around to it, where I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, you guys are pretty badass, and now I'm at the point where I've kind of come around to the loyalists too. I'm like, you guys are pretty cool. You didn't deserve all that bullshit. Horus is out of his mind. You know,
Contrary to popular belief, I disagree. Deserved all of it and extra.
Well, maybe I'm mellowing out in my old age, but I just can't keep up the fervor for Blood for the Blood God, or, you know, like I'm getting tired. I just
that takes a lot of energy to
yeah,
Blood for the Blood God.
To be honest, you can be a traitor without believing in the Chaos Gods.
Yeah, you could be a renegade.
But it's not as fun.
There's no fun there. I'm exhausted from frothing at the mouth, you know. Like, and I'm not even a corn guy. I'm a Slanish guy, so the froth is just. It's not ideal, you know. It has its place, but I'm just tired for frothing.
Save the froth for the bedroom. That's what it's for.
Well, right? Get off the battlefield. So, yeah. So I guess what else to say? Really, like I actually really love this game. I think that this game is as an evolution or expansion in a certain sense of the idea behind Hearthstone and online CCGs. I think it's actually pretty damn clever. A modular warlord who can interact with the whole board and do stuff. I'm like, that's really, really cool. And I'm an old school Magic the Gathering player. I played that competitively for many years. So having a game like Legions where, yeah, obviously there's a bit more randomness than a game of chess, obviously, but there's so much life in it and so much creative control and agency in a game, even with all the randomness. So I thought, wow, this is great, and I dove deep into the rabbit hole and played pretty seriously for many years. Ran a channel for a few years and helped with reveals and all that jazz.
Yeah, I was missing you on the reveals these last few sets, and I know some folks who enjoyed the LCFR cosplay reveals.
Yeah, if I had grown maybe if I'd grown a handlebar mustache in time, maybe I would have signed up for it. But it's tough, The last one I was debating doing was Blood Angels. I was going to do a workout montage and a big blonde wig, and at first, if you recall, Sanguinius was he was released with a different. He was spoiled with a different set of art.
Yeah,
it was the art that the player base loathed. I think most fans probably loathe it, but I was going to get a zebra or leopard stripe workout outfit and with the blonde wig and do like a Blood Angels workout montage cosplay.
Nice. That would he looked. Yeah. His release art looked like it was off of the Ruinstorm cover where he's sporting like the Goldilocks like. Yes,
he's done his hair quite nicely, and it's staying like that.
It's got very impressive. It was like D. Snyder kind of like meets an angel.
Yeah, I mean, I hated it like everybody else did, of course, but I'm like sick. I'm like, you got leopard skin. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about you, but you seem cool. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, with the what would you say was your favorite reveal that you did as far as like cosplay? Because you did a couple of them.
Yeah, because it started with Space Wolves. That's when I started doing. That was the first reveal, and I tried very hard to help get those balls rolling so that they would let as many content creators do reveals as they could. And so I was happy to be a part of that. And so it started with Space Wolves, and just to make it, because it was the first one, to make it fun, I made myself a little wooden Viking style throne, and I wrapped myself up in some furs because I have fucking tons of costumes. So having a big fur cloak wasn't hard to find, and that was short and sweet. I was only in costume for it's 30 seconds, and then after that it just it evolved for a few. Right, I think Magnus was probably my favorite, though I have to say, much more involved in the Space Wolves outfit, but having a full Magnus outfit and the contact lens for the eye. I had a friend make the headdress piece. I've still got the fuchsia. What color is it? Fuchsia? Magenta?
Yeah, it's kind of like a magenta. It's like a...
Yeah, let's say magenta. I've still got the magenta wig under my bed in a holy place there. You never know when you'll need it again.
You never know when you might need to defend Prospero.
That's right. Or not defend Prospero, or not defend Prospero. Just dither. Just really dither. I think that was probably my favorite. That was probably my favorite cosplay. The Word Bearers one was fun. I was going to a Vampire the Masquerade roleplay event, so I was in heavy Nosferatu prosthetic, and I thought, why don't we try and kill two birds with one stone? But I would have rather done that I would have done that a little differently to represent the demons in the faction. It wasn't very Warhammer demon, unfortunately. So we'll see. We're gonna say Magnus. Painting your face like Erebus is actually just fucking annoying. It's one like just tattoo it to my face, but painting glyphs on my face to do the Erebus Word Bearers. One of the that was the Word Bearers reveal. I did my face like Erebus. That was just painful and exhausting. So I would rather just slap a contact in my left eye, put a wig on, and some comfy red pajama robes and call it a day.
Hey.
Magnus, I think, lived the high life.
He was pretty cush in the pyramid there.
I think wherever he is now, I think he's cush now.
Yeah.
Well, in pieces maybe, but
he's got
some pieces are cush for sure.
Was it the Tower of Sorcerers or the Sorcerer's World? I think it's called.
Yeah, I don't know if he really hangs out in any of those places, or if that's just for
he's on his planet.
Ahriman's the one who doesn't hang out there, right?
Yeah, he made his...
Ahriman got booted out for being him.
He's there
for being Ahriman,
for being Ahriman and using the rubric. But I think he's also had, because I read the Crimson King is as far as I'm at with his plot hook. I think he was also like rebuilding a psychic library, a psychic version of the Library of Tizca in the warp somewhere, like in this weird pocket dimension thing.
It's no Black Library, but it'll have to do.
It'll have to do. It's got all the secrets that he could remember, and he was like trying to.
All the secrets he could remember.
Yeah.
Where did I leave my wallet? I don't know that one.
That's actually like half of the plot point. That was him. He was this bumbling kind of like Alzheimer's guy, and Amon and Airman are like, "You're dying." He's like, hang on. Who are you again? Like he was like going through.
Bro, you don't have a clue. Yeah.
And it's like if
he's like other demon Primarchs, he's probably, I know Fulgrim basically recreated Chemos to a T, like obsessively. So if he's like other crazy demon Primarchs, I'm sure he's getting his jollies. Maybe actually what he's probably doing isn't remaking Prospero, but he's probably reliving different iterations of what he could have done.
That's true.
Differently,
right.
He's probably just infinitely rerunning those iterations
and
like
all the different variables, and this is how this would have played out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that guy, like Guy Pearce in the Time Machine, just losing his mind.
Not Guy Pearce in
it's not Guy Pearce.
Memento.
Also Memento. Yeah. Also Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
Is losing his mind.
Yeah. In reverse.
Yeah.
And then you find out at the end, you're like, wait a minute. Turns out that he knew what he was doing the whole time. God damn.
Or did he? I'm not sure, but
that's the whole, like, did he do this on purpose or did he make this choice?
Sometimes
I miss when I used to enjoy questioning movies and like watching. They weren't quite independent movies, but movies like could be good. And now I feel like they just. I don't know. They throw that.
It's
out
hard
there.
to question a blockbuster superhero movie, like we're gonna get to the point where this will be resolved with an action scene, and then it's over. There's no question. It's like you shouldn't have any questions.
Everybody shows up. You got to get the shots if everybody's showing up.
Yep.
Make sure
everybody's doing their best.
Yeah, and
that's how teams work.
Cue the music and resolution. It doesn't matter how. You don't have to ask how all those Rebel Alliance starships got to this place all untouched somehow magically unscathed.
You're better off not asking.
You're
much better off not asking any questions.
Just accept it.
Never mind how they
question things. You've forgotten everything the minute you start asking questions. None of it will make sense. It's a rule. It's a law.
Yeah, just sit back, enjoy it, or don't. But just sit back and be quiet, right? Give Disney your money and shut your mouth. What else can you do?
Don't talk about.
You keep going down this road, and Scuff is going to go on a 2-hour long rant about the new Star Wars movies.
That's okay. We could egg each other on.
We just think, oh man, don't even get me started.
Speaking of super teams and heroes and shit, are you playing for Team America this go?
Me and Zacharias have got to finish our game in the qualifiers before we see which one of us goes on to face Diamond, and then the winner.
How many of you are in the USA qualifier tournament?
So the USA qualifier had 12 people sign up, but but at the start of it took like a week for it to kick off, and by the time it kicked off, apparently there were only 9. So 3, I guess, dropped out or didn't actually register, even though they signed up. They didn't register on challenge.
Fools.
Yeah. So you missed that opportunity. So I know number one, and GMAT are currently in the top winners bracket. They still need to play, and then the loser of them would face the winner of whoever faces Diamond. Zacharias and I were the only ones who've had to play like an additional game. Like everybody else got a bye, but 2 of us had to square off in round 1. It was really weird, but that's how challenge works.
Yeah, challenge is kind of a dick that way sometimes.
Yeah.
So
it works, but it works in a weird way.
It works.
The way it wants to work. Yeah,
exactly.
So hopefully after this week, we've still got 7 days to go. We might know who Team USA is. I'm still in it. I'm still in the qualifier, but even if I win, I'm still would have at least.
You got to keep fighting.
2 or 3 more rounds to go through. Yeah. Yep.
They're much bigger turnout this time than last time around, right? Because the USA had a qualifier last year, or 2 years ago, whenever the last World Cup was. But
it was like 6 players.
I don't think it had 12. Yeah, I didn't have 12 players coming out.
Yeah, the USA turnout was a lot smaller. I don't know about the other countries. I don't know about all the other countries because it seems like there was more countries, but I could be wrong. I just haven't seen the brackets.
Might be probably more countries just with more representation, the game being bigger. Whereas last time we had a pro, it was Team Pro Vlachia, it was Portugal, Slovakia, and I think the Czech Republic all together, because there was only one poor soul from each of those countries, so we mashed them together. We made a little exception for them. Yeah, but now it seemed like this year, there were a lot of people coming out, which is pretty cool. It's good for the game. It's a cool card back to win, honestly. So and it's some of the best, it's been a while since we've done like the Legends tournament or even Lodge Wars, but you get some of the best kind of games you can ask for. Like really what's worth watching, if I could be a fly on the wall, or if I could just finally get observer mode. They promise it for like fucking
we'll never get
4 years now.
You're asking for too much.
But really the qualifier to watch is the Russian qualifier. Like that's more heat in it than the whole World Cup practically. Like that's what you want to
kill
watch.
each other to get in.
Yeah,
like
oh my god.
And that's a huge bracket too. How many players do they have in the Russian qualifier?
Yeah. Like last World Cup, I believe it was something in the numbers of like 30.
Wow, that's a huge tournament in of itself. To
get to 3. Well, they've got amazing players. Yeah. They've got tons of War Masters, tons of longtime heavy duty gamers. So like they're pretty. They're a powerhouse, honestly.
Right.
Like they won the World Cup too.
Yes, they
did.
It
down.
Team
of course
Russia,
they did.
Team Russia.
Yeah, I would put my money on them doing it again. I would put my money on them taking it down again, because that's where I think they have the concentration of the biggest talent all in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've got big. I think probably 60% of the player base is Russia, but like you said, like they've got the skilled players. They've got a grip. And they're going to represent.
Their final team will be like 3 War Masters, right? It'll be like a super gang. I'm excited.
I won't doubt it. The Russians go hard.
Yeah, yep. So I mean, and we're going to be hoping to keep covering it as it progresses, starting in May, and hopefully I'd like to get a couple of the teams, if we can, get them all on for the podcast, or at least a couple of members, and kind of talk about their experiences too. So we'll see how that goes. It looks like Chaos, I don't know if he's going to be able to get back on. He lost internet connection during the call, so
he got lost in the box with his cat that may or may not exist.
Well, that's what happens in the Eye of Terror studios. You're in the warp.
I forgot you guys talking while I was gone. The cat may or may not be real.
That's right. You may or may not exist by the time you come back. You could have aged 50 years. You could come back.
That is always a possibility. That is always a possibility that I am ready for.
I'm excited. I want to get flesh grafted with my wig here. This is going to be great.
Like I want to fuse into hybrid.
I'm probably just going to fuse with my stupid denim and plaid, though. It'd be terrible.
Oh, well, that's what happens. That's the warp spawn treatment right there. Like you think you're
terrible. This is some stupid Canadian ogre.
You just get Canadian denim spawn. That's what it is.
Just oozing maple syrup.
Oozes maple syrup frantically.
That's what hell looks like. That's Canadian hell, for those curious.
Yeah.
Maple syrup? Like, come on. What could be going with that?
No, too much maple syrup is hell.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Not enough maple syrup is also hell. There's a delicate balance.
It is a delicate balance.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to keep the pipe flowing no matter what happens. We're going to keep those pipes flowing. All the maple syrup all across the world.
Yeah, I don't care about the Alaskan oil pipeline. It's the syrup pipeline from Canada. That's what I want. And that's right. Coming in nice and thick and slow.
Oh, yeah. Viscous.
Yes. I want my cakes coated and floating in it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we were going to talk about the new cards really quick. Let's take a look at, I guess, the event that they debuted in, the Imperial Fist, because that was kind of something everybody was talking about. Every time there's a new faction, what event are they? What's the debut? Who are they going to be facing? A lot of people were thinking it'd be Iron Warriors or Alpha Legion.
Alpha Legion, yeah.
Which I thought might, like the Battle of Pluto. You've got the Battle of Fall, but typically they are events where it's the faction before conflict, and this one we're doing the Blood Games, which I like because I don't think we've actually done a Blood Games event where. The Custodes, that's their whole thing where they test the defenses of the Imperial Palace. And I believe Amon Taramakian is the Custodes who has gotten the farthest in the Blood Games.
Correct.
So we're going to go through that, and we've got the Imperial Fist versus the Custodes. And so far, it's been a week of spoilers, starting from Monday when we rolled out what they looked like, what their mechanic Bastion was going to be. A lot of hype on this. I was actually surprised. I guess I shouldn't have been, but I was. I didn't anticipate how thirsty people were for the Imperial Fist. The spoiler video that I did got 2,300 views, which is the highest I've ever had. Like, I think the closest spoiler video to that was the Dark Angels at 1,700.
Nice. Yeah, they're eager. People have sounded eager for the Fists for ages and ages. I remember on every expansion, there's somebody saying, "Where are the Fists? When are Fists coming?" Like, they're popular.
Call me young, but the sentence "eager for the fists."
Yeah,
I wasn't joking.
That's true. They want it. They want it.
They want it. Yeah.
But like there's a big group out there, and obviously with them being the last faction, the last Space Marine Legion, that's a big thing. I think this expansion is going to be I think this expansion hits 3 of the factions that people have wanted for a long time better than the Defenders of the Angels of Caliban. Like, Angels of Caliban have got the Dark Angels, and I think they did them justice in having the Defenders of Caliban, because you can't just do Dark Angels and Fallen in one faction. Like, there's 2 rifts there. But the Night Houses was kind of like cool but unexpected in terms of, like, wouldn't it be cool if we had Imperial Knights? But why are they in that? It makes sense why they're in there, but when you're talking about Terra and you're talking about the forces of the Imperium, and besides the Defenders of Terra, the Imperial Fist, you're getting the Sisters of Silence, and you're getting the Agents of the Sigilate, which is the precursor to the Inquisition. I mean, that's a hype expansion. That's a really cool expansion.
It's very Terra appropriate.
Yeah.
What's coming out. Whereas, like, even Calth, Malevolence, and Caliban all had 2 sets that made quite a bit of sense, and then it had a third sort of surprise set, whether it was White Scars or Night Houses or Orphans of War.
Was a good one.
Welcome, but unexpected, right? Whereas the other, all the other expansions, they make sense. They're cohesive,
Mm-hmm.
But so it was cool that they have all 3 sets, and that I think it's clear too that I don't think that this is the end of it.
Right.
I think there's a lot they can expand from here once they've done Terra, even if it's an expansion just to old individual sets or all kinds of things you can do with the game mechanics. It's pretty vast game.
New mechanics for each faction, or just creating a new mechanic, then implement that into cards for each faction. 5th Warlords, plus, give or take, they come up with some other ideas, some other factions in there, maybe some variants of things. There's so much that they can do, and they confirmed during the Q&A that they've got multiple expansions planned. That's cool. So this is a good point, I think, for a lot of people, whether they're coming back because of the Imperial Fists or they've been waiting for the Imperial Fists. I think it's a good.
Like a certain someone we know.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting a long time. I've been waiting too long, but it was really cool. So I just the hype, and this is like the first spoiler season that they've done where they've revealed all the legendaries too, like all the legendaries are out there,
and all the warlords.
All the crazy. Warlords. I mean, they got Chapter Master Valrock on YouTube to do Rogel Dorn.
Yeah.
Which was the thing I was talking to you, Axel, like when I got the spoilers.
You were hinting at?
Yeah, I got the spoilers for Sigsimond.
Yeah, they made a big occasion of it.
Yeah. And they were like, hey, we're going to be getting Chapter Master Valrock to get involved too. And I was like, hey, great, like, that's awesome. And if he wants to duel or event walkthrough, I think, let me know. I think he did stuff earlier. I don't know if he's still doing things on his thing, but I guess he's played. I don't think it's been a while since he's played, but his reveals hit, and he got to reveal the Primarch, and man, that video blew up. But so Chapter Master Valrock had done spoilers before.
I don't think he's done spoilers before, but he has been involved on the. In the past, they've done events. It was Skulls for the Skull Throne event, another kind of Warhammer World live streaming for them with the Angron and Karn alternate arts, and they had Valrak on for some other program. Couldn't tell you what exactly. But I don't know him too. I don't know his shtick very well myself. Like, I'm not too not really too plugged into the online Warhammer scene, to be honest.
No,
But he's a cool cat. He's got a cool voice, that's for sure.
yeah, he's got the accent going. So I know he's got the channel. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch of, I mean, just like we do with the content for the game, for Legions, everybody's got a different approach. Everybody's got a different thing. I know within the 40K, there's guys who do lore videos, and then they just read the Wikipedia. I've tried checking those out, and I can't listen to it because it's just reading. And then there's others who are engaging.
Some are good. Some are better than others.
Yeah,
for
some
sure.
are.
But there's, you definitely notice there's a lack of, let's say, theatricality.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to get online and wear a fuchsia wig.
No.
But
What you're saying is if you
can't
don't,
just
you're
read
lame.
and drool.
Yeah, you gotta have
Maybe
you gotta have some, you
gotta have some style,
some depth.
Some pizzazz.
personal
Some
style,
pizza.
right? Pizzazz is everything.
That's true. Brightens the day.
Mhm.
Yeah. So getting him in. I mean, they went all out, that was a question I asked during the Q&A. Was, hey, like, because I've asked it before, like, are you planning any other ad campaigns, getting anybody out there, whether it's podcasts, GW website, anything to help promote the game? I know they've done a couple of mentions, I guess, in White Dwarf over the years. Like, I think they've had 2 spots in White Dwarf where they're, hey, this game's still playing and this is the faction that's out. Just things to draw the eye, because sometimes people, we've talked to a lot of people who didn't even know the game existed. It's not under Warhammer 40,000, it's under Horus Heresy, so sometimes that's a problem if they're doing searches in Steam or in their app store or whatever it is. So just, the more advertising you can do, and this set, I mean, I've seen ads actually on Facebook, which is great. I don't do Facebook a whole lot, but when I am, I'm always looking for Horus Heresy Legions, like, posts from the game, and I have to go to their page, and now they've got an ad running out there, which is great, because I'd rather see that than Raid Shadow Legends, like, for the umpteenth time.
Are you sure you don't want to play Raid Shadow Legends, the new ambitious game of
Raid Shadow
2021?
Legends. Never, ever.
Obviously, the advertising isn't working on you if you don't want to play. Call security.
This episode was sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Let's get to our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
I have the entire script for those ads, by the way. You could just read one out one of these.
We should
days.
just make a Raid Shadow Legends ad, but then we wouldn't get. I don't know what the point would that be, just to do it, to say that we did it.
Please pay
let's
for
take
it.
a Raid Shadow Legends ad, but make it Horus Heresy Legions.
No one
That's
can
the
stop
name
us.
of the game, baby. If you can do that, you're in the money.
That's it.
That's what every guild wants. Get
Let's-
it done.
Let's take what they do and make it ours,
Yeah.
and take their player base too. I don't know if they've got a good player base or not, but
Oh, they do.
Do
It's
they?
like crazy high.
I guess. Well,
Yeah.
if they got all those ads, like Coca-Cola still is the number one paid advertiser too, and they're Coca-Cola. So
And it's the drink of a new generation.
is it still?
Oh shit, that's Pepsi.
That's
Fuck,
Pepsi.
That's Pepsi. I'm sorry. Call security.
We have to take you away. I'm sorry, bud.
Oh no,
No,
not again.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow. You remember the Pepsi taste test?
Yeah, I passed every time. I
Did
vote
you?
for Coke.
Oh man.
Yes.
Get out of here. Get outta
Pepsi
here.
sucks.
Pepsi's great.
Pepsi's ass, man.
I'm actually drinking a Diet Pepsi right now.
I've fallen on hard times, so I'm actually drinking a no-name ginger ale. God willing, it'd be Canada Dry from the Coca-Cola Corporation, but instead it's Selection ginger ale.
Well, it's not like
Not the same.
RC
Not the
Cola.
same. It's basically like an RC Cola.
It's
Yeah,
like an RC Cola ginger ale, of all things.
you got it.
Mm.
Yeah, pathetic. Yeah, I know how far I've fallen.
How the mighty have fallen.
I used to be a hero, but now
And now I'm resigned to drinking the poor man's ginger ale. It's not even clear.
yeah,
It's all like
it's already flat in the can.
So, with the spoilers done, with the new cards added, that because there was like 8, I think, that hadn't been spoiled. If you guys had a chance, I would hope that you have. If you had a chance to take a look at them, what are your thoughts?
At the new set?
At the new Imperial Fist, like just in general, like how do you think they stack up? Does the hype meet the debut?
I would say they came out real strong. I expected us to get a White Scar treatment where they come with no new gimmicks, nothing really neat, and they're just, here's pre-existing gimmicks in the game that we've doubled down on. I expected it to be just all front lines.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, we got new features, which color me surprised. I didn't expect Bastion, and then here is an army of sentry guns to be their gimmick.
I like the Bastion. Like, I was very hesitant on what that was going to be, and I still am. But in the first day, in day one at least, I don't feel like it's too weak or too overpowering. Like, because I was always kind of like, okay, so like for just, like your typical Garrow has got, to add 2 health or heal 2 health that costs 2 energy. 6 can put it on a troop and it costs 1 energy. There's always that cost ratio. So the closest thing you've got Dorn, who can pay 2 to get Bastion 2 to a unit. But Bastion isn't health. It's defensive health, which is good, but it's not offensive health, so there's limitations. So is that cost exchange right? And then on top of that, how does that make you play a faction if you can't attack with them? They could have Bastion 10, but if their health is 2, they can't face strike or you lose that unit.
Yeah.
But on par, I mean, with setting that up right, so far that feels like that actually translates really well and makes a unique playing experience. Yeah, there's that risk, and you could throw those units out if you do, but by that point, you probably have got other units that have been either protected with Frontline or bolstered with Bastion. I don't think there's... I mean, so far, my initial takes on it, at least, are good.
Oh yeah, I'm loving them. I haven't been able to build a collection because I ain't got much gold and I haven't really had time to farm event yet. But from what I've seen and what I've played against, they're good. I enjoy them. From the little bit I have touched an event, they're cool.
Yeah, likewise. I think they're gonna have game 2. I think that I think Bastion came out just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it didn't come out like Duplicitous, which required some modification.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come out. I mean, but let's be clear. Like since the Thousand Suns and Canis debacles of their release just being so insanely overpowered, Everguild pulls their punches pretty well on release, which I like. It's easier to buff up a faction than it is to tone it down. Right? It's less salt in the wound when people are buying crates or gold or tickets or what have you, and and it's just no fun to play against. It basically becomes hardly any fun to even play as at a certain point. Like, so I think overall Knights obviously were not that situation, unfortunately. But by comparison to the stuff that they have plugged way too hard in the past, like Knights were not Thousand Suns. No. Knights were not Canis Vertix.
Yeah.
And as much as Knights were obnoxious as all fuck, and just the word flame and cannon in any context would just send my head spinning. Like, they were not, and think about how fast the response was on that too. Like, they were able to come in and apply some soft patches fairly soon after a couple weeks of brutality, and likewise Duplicitous got its patch up after a few weeks of it clearly being like, it was pretty sick, pretty cool, but clearly the Duplicitous mechanic was not going to break the game. It wasn't too powerful, and now it just feels just right,
Yeah.
So we got Goldilocks on that shit now.
Man, I'm telling you, I like where Duplicitous is at once they tweaked it. It's, like you said, it's just right. Like, I know I see people sometimes like, oh, it's overpowered. Like, no, it's not. Like, there's so many ways to answer it. And what's cool about that is
people are upset when they
lose. Let's be honest.
Of course, they're upset when they lose, but they're also upset in general. I find when they lose agency in the game. So when there's things in the game that make it utterly uninteractive, and Duplicitous is technically, I mean, in a way, a lot of mechanics play with interaction. Who can or cannot interact with the thing.
Ward stealth.
Yeah. So I find that when people, exactly. And I think when people run into that and you only get to play on your turn, you only get to play with your energy, and so when you can't interact with everything on the board, or when you're prevented very severely from power locks, from interacting with the board, I find they go crazy. And I don't think that that's justified response. Like, I'm not the guy who's typically salty after a game and whatever it is, because I know when I sign on to play, I know that I'm literally signing up to play a combination of cards and slots. As soon as, like, the first card you get in your starter warlord deck is literally defense satellites. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
That should literally tell you everything you need to know. Like, if you're salty about the RNG, or if you're salty about somebody in precognition or in ward or whatever, like, honestly, you just need to play chess, I guess. Like, this is not the game for you.
My
like,
biggest
that's a
problem with
part
people,
of it.
I was just going to say, my biggest problem with people complaining about Jaeger spam, the thing you counter it with is the thing you're already packing, anti-stealth.
Yeah,
Like,
you log an informant network, it's a common... Yeah.
I was just going to say, if you're not packing that, you're already doing something wrong, because stealth is just going to ruin your day.
Yep, you're already bad, so don't complain.
You've already put yourself behind.
I agree. Oh, I mean, I was just going to say, I've been cruising Luther on the ladder, testing him for World Cup, and took him to 4,400 before we start testing the other decks. And yeah, I know, pretty good. Especially Luther's kind of the dark horse of that faction.
Yeah.
Because Cypher is just a dead horse, unfortunately. And not a lot of people put stock in Luther, but the reality is that you've got access to troops that can't be targeted by the Warlord, which is a common and basically free action you get every turn to help move troops. When you block an enemy Warlord from doing that, you do create some advantages. You've got access to buffs, and you've got access to keep your board alive by debuffing enemy troops, or preferably the enemy Warlord, to just fucking nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, so you get into pretty ugly situations, and if your enemy is not holding on to cards like our beloved co-host has mentioned, like Informant Network, like anti-stealth, like anything that can do some area of effect damage, yeah, like you're gonna lose. But you know what happened after playing Luther for 2 weeks pretty hard on the ladder? Like taking on Corswain, no trouble. Taking on Knights, that's a little bit more trouble, obviously, because some of them who see a Las Cutter just make your life hell.
Yeah.
But what they all started doing was everybody subbed in an extra copy of Informant Network. Everybody. like without exception, everybody in top 50 all started to run one extra copy of Informant Network. If they weren't already maining 2 Las Cutters, they started to main 2 Las Cutters. Just whatever you can just to answer them. They're a really cool faction. It was really awesome that they gave space to not just the Lion and the Dark Angels proper, but to the Fallen and the rest of Caliban. It was great, but they're not a busted faction.
No, not at all.
I think the easy access to like cheap area of effect removal, you know, and that brings me to Imperial Fists. Like I like them on release. I played a couple tickets this morning, and I feel like whereas Defenders of Caliban have the Caliban Jaeger, Imperial Fists have the Sentry Turret instead. And my most successful plays on it, and my witnessing of the most successful plays, were people just being able to create locks by generating sentry turrets and then proccing them as much as you can, either with the fortification epic card that triggers their relentless abilities as a resolution, and likewise perimetral defense, like crazy value for 5 energy. You get a blocker and you get 2 sentry turrets. If there's anything that needs to be tweaked for the Fists going forward, my bet is on perimetral defense going down to just 1 sentry turret, because I think that the successful strategy for them can really happen, but I think the strategy for them is going to be proccing tons and tons of sentry turrets, getting crazy value out of them, making them impossible to remove with really cool value stuff like Stalwart Defenders or anything that adds extra Bastion, and then just slamming the deals 3 to Andrew all your troops, and won't be playable in himself. And I'm like, holy shit! You know, on the ladder, maybe he'll only be good for event. Like you're pretty 8 jacked, you know. Like you're being played easy. That's so, at least in event, anyways. Like they've got a good theme. They obviously seem to me playable. Like there doesn't seem to be any. You know, will Rogel Dorn get his reckoning off in ladder games? Probably not. Yeah. Probably not unless he's already going to kill you, to be honest.
I mean, I've gotten it, but in the event, in ladder, that's a different beast altogether.
Well, can you imagine starting enough turns over the ladder that you've all game long you've seen 20 troops alive at the start of your turn?
Right.
You won.
Yeah.
you fucking won. Like, that's crazy. Even if they're just sentry turrets.
Yeah.
They're still free quick fires basically all over the board. So you've won if you can trigger his reckoning. They'll probably bring that down, I think.
I think they should for a few reasons. I mean, but that's the big thing, because the game closers that exist in ladder are still very effective against what the Fists have, even with Bastion that they can have. You know, peppering for 2 damage is awesome, and you can tag that and pepper for up to 8 in a round. That's great. But when your opponents are desperate defensing with Doombringers or Abominable Intelligences or Kaban Machine, you know, that's not going to go the distance the same way that you want it to. So I like it. Don't get me wrong. I've played so far. I'm into game 6 in the event with Dorn with my first run. I played several games with him on practice. I played several games with Sigsimond, who I also enjoy, despite people saying he's not good. Strong disagree. I think the problem is people were hung up on his ability looking like Nemetor, and that was they're like, he's Nemetor.
Yeah, even I made that comment too. I made that comment very disparaging because I hate Sigsimond because he's hurt a lot of people I care for.
Why is he not aggro?
He is.
He's not. He's counter aggro. What is aggro though is Ron, who is coming.
He's so aggro, dude. You don't even know.
I don't. Did you see those scuff? Did you see Fafnir, Ron, and Kamba Diaz's cards?
No,
because they were data mined.
Oh,
they were data mined.
Ooh, I gotta.
So I'm about to drop what they do,
because I know one of them's going to be the reinforcement warlord next week. So I know we'll see one of them.
Ron is aggro. Kamba Diaz is not.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ron uses that like that art we all know. He's holding the 2 chain axes and smiling. Medium initiative, 235, all that normal stuff. Choose a card from your hand, discard it, and gain +2 until your next turn. And act again.
What do you mean discard it? Discard it, but you send it back to your deck?
No, you just delete it.
Just delete it.
Choose a card in your hand to delete it and gain +2 attack for the next turn.
They've never done anything like that before. They've never let you delete any cards unless you've overdrawn
Herotechnica was
10
the
cards,
only one
right?
that let you do that. And
the key part
it didn't. Oh, it burned them too. It didn't. Yeah. I mean, Herotechnica was such garbage. I can hardly.
It's better now.
You didn't send it back into your deck.
No.
It's awesome now. Yeah. It's so good now.
Yeah. Herotechnica is so good now, but like before, like it was the only one that actually destroyed the cards from your hand, and it wasn't your opponent; it was yours. Like that was it. Like even Edict shuffled them back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, interesting. So maybe they will do that. Maybe they'll bring that on, and we'll see. I thought we would see a discard faction at some point.
Yeah,
but it's cool to see similar stuff. Like Inner Sanctum's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Edict of Censure obviously still is very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have liked to see.
I'm seeing how Angron is boned.
Play from the graveyard, or play with top card revealed, or like hand manipulation / hand control. Like the closest thing you've got for hand control.
Maybe we'll see some deck or hand manipulation from the Sigilite, right? Like that's where you can see something like MTG Scribe. Like look at the. Yeah, maybe. I think they're going to be a jam faction. Honestly, I think that they're. Yeah. I think that we don't know when the next expansion is, or if the next expansion will be full sets, or if instead it'll be expansions to existing sets. So I think that to counter all of the, let's say, they're not uninteractive mechanics, but all the mechanics that challenge interactivity in the game, I think Sisters and then the neutral pool with it will bring some jam power.
Yeah.
I think they'll bring some serious jam power. That's my thoughts. But
or cost increase to just flat out everything. Like, you want to play things, everything's going to cost you more. And if you have high cost things, those just aren't going to get played.
Yeah, just be very, very obnoxious and aggravating to face.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea what's in store for either, to be honest. But
we can hope. I think it's going to be good either which way. I mean, the way this set looks right now with the Fists, I'm feeling stoked. And
yeah, Fists look good. Yeah. They look good.
I think they left a few key cards out of the reveals that I was like, if they would have revealed this card instead of a couple others.
People would have lost it.
What did you have in your mind?
First off, destruction that gives resolution to your turrets.
Yeah, well, the Stalwart Defenders being resolution, that was something I was hoping that they would do, and they did. But that epic that triggers all of your turrets. That's the key one.
Yes.
Also, now granted, I'm a little ticked because I guess they went back and they've edited it so that the 4 energy tactic that deals damage and stuns is just to a troop. It doesn't do the warlord, which is unfortunately because that would have been too good.
Well, they're a wall faction. They shouldn't have any direct damage,
which is fine.
And now they don't, basically.
They don't.
Aside from that sweet big Dreadnought.
But that Lordon Terminator,
nuts.
that 5 energy Terminator that has a resolution put in play a sentry turret. Like if they would have revealed that guy, and then probably the 8-drop 6/6 Bastion 4 heal 3 with resolution, and really show that not only are they Bastion, but they've got a lot of resolution effects. Because
the resolution in the set is nuts.
Yes.
It's like Stalwart Defenders is an epic that you can. I think they'll be able to main deck it, at least in the decks that are playing for the sentry turret game. That proves to be viable. But compare Stalwart Defenders to like Mantle of Ultramar, a shabby legendary from the Ultramarine set. Cost 5, only adjacent troops, and it's relentless, so you better damn well believe that you're not going to have any of these troops alive. Right. That's the crazy thing. Like, they've got resolution to proc and do nice things right away for your troops, and you've got a Rogel Doran Reckoning that rewards you if they are indeed alive.
If they're all resoluted up. Well, the cool thing about that, too, because at first it was like, if it was just relentless, I'm like, man, it doesn't even heal. Like, by comparison, like Logos is a 4 energy card that at least heals and maybe makes your vehicles better, but you're getting 4 health. You're not getting anything off of this card. So no heal, but now you are guaranteed to get the extra health on your troops that are going to sit back. That's
they don't have any heals in the set, but they do have a lot of a lot of Bastion that can go wherever you want it. It's not restricted just to a troop typically.
Exactly. The Bastion is a pseudo heal if you use it right. Yep. Yeah, I dig it. I dig what I've seen so far. I think Bastion works out smoothly, and also a Himalayan architecture that give Bastion 3 to your structures in play for 3 energy. I think that would have been another one. Like if they would have showed off like, hey, extra resolution, extra structures, extra ways to keep those structures alive. Because when everybody saw the sentry turrets, it's like, it's okay. It's what? It's 1/2. So what? Like that's so easy to kill. And you're like, no, now that you faced them, now that everybody has had a day to face them, I'm not hearing that.
Now that you know how easy it is for the sentry turret to get resolution.
Or protect it even. If I can't give it resolution, if I can throw down 2 front lines in front of it, you're going to eat it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's really harrowing in this event. Fist on fist, because you don't fly. You don't fly. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anything in the whole set flies.
I don't think there is
everything's on the ground.
Unit. It is the best thing you've got are a couple units that have rally damage. And then
you got rally damage. You have Retribution, which is great.
Retribution is, oh my god, that card is awesome. Like,
Retribution is very good.
I was like, okay, this is going to be a good card because it's 7, but it's probably going to cost like 5 or 6. Man, I'm usually getting it like for 2 or 1 with the way they work, and that's not to say like, oh, it's overpowered. It's not, because that's usually late in the game, and I can play cheap troops that create more troops.
You tend to play it cheaper than you would with the White Scars Stormlance, which is the opposite, right? I've never played a Stormlance for as cheap as I've played a Retribution. I feel like I'm playing Spear of Telesto. It gets so cheap sometimes. I'm like, this is nuts.
Yeah,
but it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good.
It's solid.
They have Void Maneuver's okay. As far as disruption,
the 3 energy one that does the 2 and then 2 for every structure is nice.
No, that one's great. I like that one. Sustained Barrage. That one's pretty fun.
That's better than Artillery Strike or Defensive Satellites, especially if in the right deck.
Or it becomes just like a shield charge under the right circumstances with these guys. Like, you can crack out tons of damage if you can proc enough Bastion. But Void Maneuver's the stun a random enemy for every troop you control.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, I think the test of these guys, like, you've got other cool cards like the Gorhagen Assault Squad, Rally +1/+1 for every other friendly troop. Like,
I like those.
They seem to, kind of snowball off of having a board. At least from the event, it doesn't seem that hard if you play it smart. And if you have the right tools to build a board, again, the ladder is always a different always just a different beast, so
Right.
we'll see. But it looks like when I look at the set, I'm like, yeah, it looks like you've got the shit that you need. Like, you've got some clear finishers. You've got cool tech. You obviously, very intentionally, they made a choice not to give them direct targeted damage in any meaningful sense. So what are you going to do? You're going to build a board, and you're gonna bash them down bit by bit. And the sentry turrets are pretty great. They seem like a pretty great addition to it, because those Bastion troops, like, I feel like I'm playing with a whole faction of structures sometimes. Like, I take on enough Bastion on my troop, and it's finicky at first, right? You're just getting used to the new mechanic, but I'm like, okay, you're a 3-1 with Bastion 2, so you're a 3-3 wall, but you're a 3-1 attacker. That's it. So I'm like, you're a wall now.
Right.
Your job is to be a wall. And unless I'm going to trade you with something or send you in to die, you're just a wall. So having sentry turrets that just proc without doing anything suits it all pretty well. Having guys like Gunfrid, the Contemptor Dreadnought, go fucking ape.
Yeah.
Rally, deal 3 damage to a random enemy for every other unit you control. I'm like, wow, you're great. Defender of Terra, like, put 3 sentry turrets and 2 phalanx warders in play. Like, yeah, I mean, again, like, of course a Doombringer can really fuck your day. Not fuck your day quite as much if you're sitting on Stalwart Defenders or if you've got other kinds of tech available. But I mean, at the same time, this is my prediction as well, just for going into the Terra expansion here. If it proves that desperate defense demonstrably takes the wind out of the Fist release and out of their sail, if Doombringers flying willy-nilly in every deck and desperate defense is in every deck, I will not be surprised at all to see them quash it brutally before we get to Sisters. They will crush it, because nothing hurts a new set's, and really think about this. Be mindful of this pattern too. Who's the set typically nerfed last before we come into a new expansion? Whoever the strongest set of that expansion was. We saw it for Orphans going into the set after them. We saw it now with Night Houses getting not hobbled at the knee, because they're obviously still very strong, but Night Houses took quite a nerfing comparatively going into Terra now. Likewise, Orphans of War going into Malevolence expansion were nerfed, and same Thousand Suns going into Calt. Like, if desperate defense is the main enemy now, getting in the way of the success of the Fists, they will crush it. I'm pretty. That's my gamble. I suspect they will crush it. And thoughts and prayers they give it to Legion's Pride for the Iron Hand. Give those guys.
That's never made sense.
If they changed those 2 cards, if they made Desperate Defense Legion's Pride and Legion's Pride Desperate Defense, I'd be fine with it.
I
don't think they've ever done anything like that, though, have they? Not to say that they can't or won't, but they haven't ever taken 2 existing cards and just swapped them.
Right.
And I don't know why. It just seems like given that they've never done it, it might be something that they don't do, but that would be pretty cool. That would be quite lovely. It would be quite lovely. That's something where defenders have a home in this meta for sure, because Vulcan is my favorite matchup with Luther. I'll go through both his desperate defenses if I have to. It's just that it's just so, there's so much value in the neutral pool now. The neutral sets are technically the biggest of them all, so it's no surprise that we see them more. Yeah, they're pretty, even, I don't have Scoria in my collection yet, unfortunately. I'm hoping to win him this Saturday in the weekly tournament, but I played Scoria on a friend's account, and man, with just cards and neutrals, you can build a fine deck with almost any neutral. Some are riding off a desperate defense, obviously, because that's a reliable finisher of sorts. All those Imperial Army generals who just get extra energy right off the top. But if it seems that the Fists can't rally a defense strong enough to stand up to 2 neutral frontliners, with one of them being a Doombringer most of the time, they'll kill it. I'm baby to be upstaged by a neutral fucking Cerberus dog on treads.
Well, at this point too, because Doombringer is a set one.
Though I don't know. I mean, I think they'll do fine against
I mean,
Yep.
shit, what they gave, like, I mean, why don't you just play Doombringer in your Imperial Fist and then Stalwart Defender that Doombringer?
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
awesome.
has a lot of potential.
It's so ridiculous.
Do they have any vehicle synergy in Fists? They don't really.
No.
Eh? It's all Astartes.
Yeah, they've got a couple
Oh,
of
I
vehicles.
only think they have one vehicle.
How
many
they've
vehicles do they
got
have?
Dreads, and they've got the Rhino that
Here's
puts in
the
the
thing.
Gyrodon squad, and then they've got the Whirlwind.
Their
which
Whirlwind
does-
must be the best Whirlwind. It's
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
the Whirlwind.
only Legion Whirlwind that does something when it shows up.
That's right.
I was gonna say I'll fight you over calling a Dreadnought a vehicle because I still hate how it's only a vehicle.
I won't disagree.
Instead of,
I mean, it should feel like it's something special, like, because it's...
Well, the problem is having the vehicle tag means, this Dreadnought's so cool, melt a bomb. It's so
That's
cool.
right, Melt-a-Bomb,
Hey,
That's what happens in
That's right.
That's what happens in the tabletop. You're like, all right, I've got my ancient venerable Dreadnought. They're like, all right, that's a las cannon.
Haywire grenades and Melta works on Dreadnoughts on tabletop too. All right, I'd like you to meet my friend Urti Malevolus.
Yeah.
You know, that's my favorite.
There's so
You know?
many things that just ruin that day. At least structure hate in the game. There's plenty, but not that much.
No, there's not enough. I mean, like,
Pretty
Crack Grenade will break a structure, but there's not, like, destroy all structures. You know?
Not unless
No.
your name is Forex.
That's...
It's Forex's time now.
It's about time for Forex and Dirac Rask to step it up.
Which
Forex, yeah.
that reminds me, Kamba Diaz. His ability is 2E, put in play a sentry turret. If you want structures,
Just-
that man will
Oh
put on
my
structures.
god.
Man, that's gonna be hot
Well,
to trot.
if we're fighting for one or the other, we got to fight for Kamba because that's
I
gonna
want
be-
Ron.
That's
Can you-
awesome.
No, can you imagine Ron though? He at his last turn, 10 energy, he gets 14 attack until his next turn against an Angron. What's Angron gonna do? Kill himself?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's...
Both warlords have so much potential.
As they should. As they should. With the Imperial Fist.
AG's gonna ruin it.
Like, let's be real. Like, they should both... Sigsimond has got more potential than you realize. Like, I just dealt out... I mean, granted, I'm just, like, early playing it, and this is before I figured out that Discipline Fire needs to be tweaked, so I've got a couple of cards to tweak in my deck, but I put, like, Bastion, like, 8 on Sigsimond, and, you know, nobody wants to attack him because they've got his troops to deal with, so then it's just a free 8 damage when I do a ram and jam with the Shield Bash.
Shield Bash, so good. So good.
Yeah, I'm like, here's a 1 energy Vengeful Spirit. Thanks for not attacking my warlord.
Yeah, great common.
Oh, so
I like when they build cards like that as commons. Like I like the way they actually. I know that between sets, sometimes it's awkward because you're like, why is that garbage epic from this set not comparable to that awesome epic from the other? But I like that they've got enough like. They've got cool common cards that you can get pretty easily. You can basically get the style of the deck, and then from there you just try and collect your way up to getting the sort of tier 1 cards that you want for it.
Well, and I like the way they play, because they like you talked about the Defenders of Caliban, because they're a troop-based faction, right? Warbearers, troop-based faction. Dark Angels, troop-based faction. Imperial Fist, troop-based faction. But all of them play, and the way the Imperial Fist play, and the Defenders of Caliban, like, if you've got Duplicis, you don't want to do anything with it. You want to use their ability. You don't want to attack.
Yep.
And the Imperial Fist, like, okay, I've got him down to 1 health. He's got Bastion 10. So, yeah, he's just a wall now. And that's the first time ever.
He's
like,
just a wall.
Yeah, normally in the games, you're like, okay, he's got 1 health. Well, I guess he's going to die next turn anyways. Might as well throw him out there. Like, no, he's still got 10 health on the defense.
Yep.
Let's keep him around. Like, that's a really nice feel. It feels thematic.
And that you can very easily just take a wall with technically 1 health, but just jack up the Bastion.
Right.
You know, I was thinking about it with respect to Night Lords, because we just came out of a Night Lords event. Night Lords are going to have a good time overall, I think, because
Terror is I played 1 game against Modrum. That was a really fun game, but his terror on the board is what hurt.
Oh yeah, that's the only match I was able to pop in your stream.
Yeah, that was a good game, and I think there was like 1 play where I probably should have thrown down a troop and play instead of playing the Falnix, but he was able to keep out with enough terror troops. I had a great board. He just had unstoppable troops, and my warlord didn't have enough health at that point.
Yeah,
but that's
just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, he's like, okay, your guys have got 2 attack or 1 attack, but I've got a sneak attack or I've got terror. And we're just chewing through.
Well, things like Talon for Murder, things that modify their toughness, just like we've learned with First Strike from the Custodian side. Like, well, that Bastion counts as toughness, essentially.
Yeah.
If you're even if you're a 6 toughness troop, if the first strike, if that's not enough damage to kill you, he doesn't just slice through you like butter. Unfortunately, that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard for some guys to get through. Like I don't play much Emperor's Children anymore. Gods love them, but I remember my glory days with Lucius and how frustrating some salamanders could be, because you don't proc your battle honor when you break some guy's survivor.
Right.
Likewise, you're watching somebody get juiced up to a point with their Bastion where like I can't kill you profitably at all.
That's right.
At all.
Yeah, juice up that health, man. That's exactly. Yeah, it's not Survivor, but it still throws out the same frustration on the defense as Survivor does.
Yeah, it's not Survivor, but likewise, it's not Drop Pod.
Right.
It's not Drop Pod either. It's not Survivor. It's something similar but very different. I like it quite a bit. It's very defense oriented. I
like the animation too.
I don't think
like the Tetris.
Yeah, it's a lot of yellow.
That's great. The first time I saw it, I was like, "That's fantastic." And
do you get different animation for when you shoot stuff with their shooty tactics? Because I like that some of the loyalists have different art. The old traders, like, they have rockets and missiles and shit, but Ultramarines will have like a targeting system.
Yeah,
Dark Angels will have a different targeting system.
I think it's just a bolter fire, but I could be wrong. I'd have to take a look. Like maybe it's a cannon effect. I really don't pay attention to that. I was looking more like for the Phalanx. You play Phalanx and you get kind of like a tactical, like a big globe tactical display.
Yeah, the globe, the yellow globe. Yeah. Everything in yellow. Beautiful.
Did you play the Cestus Ram?
I've played against it, and you get the shadow of it.
You get the shadow of it flying
beautiful.
Over. That was cool.
They did really good with this expansion when it came to like effects. Yeah. I did not expect them to go this far.
I like it.
Spared no expense.
That's right.
They realized that a lot of people wanted Imperial Fists.
I brought in Mr. DNA. It's a wonderful ride. It's like Rogel Dorn's on the other side of the fence, like dropping the
What's the matter, kid? You don't like lamb chops? Yeah, Rogel Dorn would be the T-Rex.
Nobody move. He can't sense you moving.
Just watch the handlebar mustache twitching.
He's just twitching and kind of looking around.
It breaks my heart so much that it's like Rogel Dorn does not have facial hair in canon.
I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm going to start a revolt. The fan art with him with the mustache looks good. It works, right? With him or a mustache.
He doesn't have any facial hair in any canon art
ever. No.
Oh my goodness!
No. Did you not know that?
Yeah,
I'm stunned.
He's canonically always clean shaven.
That is a. Oh, that's a fan.
Art ruined.
It fits him really good, but it's not. He's always been that just that shock of white hair on top.
Yeah. Oh wow. I thought what? So I guess the Lion must be one of the only Primarchs who's allowed facial hair then.
He's kind of the stealth gun, right? Yeah.
Well,
Russ is shaggy all over.
Oh, Russ, of course. Space Wolves' hair turns white when they get older. Right. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
That was
things we learned.
That was one of the first facts that I learned from my friend who's a space wolf. It's like, what do I need to know about the space wolves? He's like, well, first off, they're the only ones who can drink.
It's more than just that. They're the only legion that will visually age at an accelerated rate to the other legions.
They don't
but isn't that crazy? Like you ask your friend, what are the must knows for space wolves?
Exactly.
All right, this sounds wild, but they age, and you're like,
okay. As a space wolf player, as a Space Wolf player, do you want us to open up with that, or they are werewolves in disguise?
Well,
which one sounds
I want werewolves in disguise. No, obviously.
Then they get followed up with, "Oh fuck you have a legion of furries," and I go, "No, that's
right. That's right."
It would have been like, because I was like, "What's the thing about them?" Like, if my friend would have been like, "They're like Vikings, but with wolves." That would have been
like werewolf Vikings, Vikings.
But no, it was like
anymore they're not.
They can.
Now they're just furry.
They turn into ugly old men, whereas other Astartes age gracefully and beautifully, but not too beautifully. Forever.
Have you seen Dante? I refuse to believe that.
I think the
man's the great. They get brazen at this point.
Pretty rugged, them space wolves. Like,
they
can get bald,
and that's assuming
they get the ho-ho beard, the bulvi.
The ho-ho beard.
And that's assuming they don't turn into a wolfen.
Yeah, the Wolfen thing.
I'll give you a fun Space Wolf fact. Do you want to know what happens when a Dreadnought becomes a Wolfen?
No.
Does it die?
They can't-
actually, wait. Yes,
No?
I do want to. I need to know what happens.
They can't put it to sleep anymore, but they're not getting rid of it. So they cryogenically freeze it in a block of ice, and then just drop it on the battlefield when they need it later, and then refreeze it to bring them home.
So is it?
I don't know if that's better than what the traders do, where they just lock theirs up after.
Theirs just go crazy, and then they just leave it insane.
He's frozen in a block. He's asleep. But
It kind of sounds like a Black Rage Dreadnought from like a Death Company Dreadnought from the Blood Angels.
well, yeah, that's basically what the Blood Angels would do. They would just, keep them locked in a tower. But no, these guys just get frozen in a giant ice block and then just dropped when they need to fight later.
You know what happens when an Imperial Fist Dreadnought goes crazy?
They just
Turns
bring them out back. Yellow.
It doesn't.
That's debatable.
You know what happens when an Imperial Fist shield wall breaks down?
Right.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. That's what happens.
Scuff, what do you think your and likewise Axel, what would you guys bill your top 5 non-warlord cards from this set?
Ooh, non-warlord cards. Top
In no
5?
particular order.
Oh,
in no particular order.
This
What?
should be pretty
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. Unless you know clearly. Well, fuck, Axel. Pardon me. If you know clearly what it is, don't stand on ceremony. Let's hear it. Give us it in numerical order.
Well, not only will I give you a numerical order, I'll make sure it's a peer-reviewed report on each one. But no,
Very good, sir.
I'd have to put Ram and Phalanx up there. They're both amazing cards. The idea
The
of,
Harrenberg, the Caseless Assault Ram.
yeah, I love that thing. The idea of getting double troops and it's reduced cost as well. I love those types of cards. They're fun matchups.
It's it's cheap enough to be played. It's probably the most cost efficient assault ram in the game.
Easily.
Mhm.
I would say
We've got a couple assault rams. They're mostly bad.
Right, they're mostly like.
But
10
this one's
energy
pretty
drops.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The Space Wolves have one of their legendaries. It's a 10 energy
Oh
assault
god,
ram.
you'll
So
never
sad.
see that used. You'll never see that used.
Sad. But now here,
Alright.
by contrast, I don't see any legendaries here, aside from maybe Phalanx. But even then, people are hating on it, but I'm like, I think this is okay.
I like Phalanx.
It's playable.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I think so too. That's maybe the optional one, but every other legendary, Harrenberg, Sergeant
They're
Amund,
amazing.
Archimedes, yeah, and definitely Justici Gunfried are lovely Contemptor Dreadnought.
Oh yeah,
Hashtag
Gunfried
not
will
a
be an
vehicle.
event warlord. I forgot.
Oh, that'll be fun. I like when
And
the Dreadnoughts are warlords. I like their voices.
Yeah.
They sound
And
so
the
warm.
Praetorian Praetorian of Dorne will be an event warlord too. I forget his name. Something ARC. Archimus.
Oh,
He'll
yeah, he
also-
should be. He should be an event warlord. I don't know. For my top 5, I'd say Archimus. I'd say the.
I didn't even
Adrian-
get to finish mine.
Just
feel
to see,
betrayed.
no, you get walked over on this one.
Yeah, sorry, Axel. Turns out you only get one after all.
Stalwart
Hey, I got my
Defenders.
2.
Retribution.
Stalwart Defender. Which one's Retribution?
That's
the
hard
instant
removal.
removal.
Hard removal.
Yeah.
Where
And,
you'll get it. I had some use it on me for 1 year earlier, and I cried.
probably for my 5th, I'd say Fortified Outpost.
Yeah, no.
Fortified
That seems
Outpost. Fortified Outpost is in my top 5 also. I'm gonna go Fortified. Perimeter. This is a mouthful. It's not perimetral. It's perimetral. Perimetral defenses. Perimetral defenses are in my top 5 for sure. That's a lot of value. I think that's going to be. I think this is going to be one of their backbreaker cards. Like once they set it up with some free Bastion on it, like this is a card you save your counterattack for. Perimetral defenses will be good. I like their legendary Gunfried. I'm quite fond of him. He's pretty solid. I think I'm going to have to go with Captain Alexandro as well. I normally like my janky tactics, but he's a pretty sexy troop. 8 energy for a 6/6 isn't great, but Bastion 4 and Resolution heals 3 to your troops, including himself.
Yes.
Including himself.
He
That's the
basically.
crazy part.
He's like, okay, so you can now attack with your guys as long as they don't die, and they'll still keep their Bastion and they'll get their health back.
I'm finding an event that a lot of people are finding their feet in events, so I expect over the next 2 weeks the Fist mirror matches will get harder.
Oh yeah.
But right now, timing when you can get your Alexandro out there safely to look after your board. If you can beat the other guy to it, like you can win event games for sure. He's one of those cards. Yeah, I like Retribution too. I like it quite a bit too. But actually, I mean, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to add the Verklosh Whirlwind. It's the only whirlwind in the game that does something when it shows up.
It's good.
Also, one of the cheapest, if not cheapest.
Yeah, a lot of them clock in at 6, but they're just rubbish.
Right.
Yeah, or like the Alpha Legion have a 7-cost one, but you'll never see it.
The Alpha Legion has a 7 and a 6-cost one, I think.
Yes. No, the 6-cost one is the Land Raider, right? Or is that a 5-cost? That's a 5-cost.
Is that maybe it's a Rhino?
It's a Land Raider. The one that draws a card is a Land Raider.
Oh, it's a Land Raider.
Yeah.
Oh, good for them.
It's a cheap Land Raider, like every other Land Raider in all the other factions.
No, it's a Rhino. It's a possessed Rhino.
Is it a Rhino?
So by 40k rules, back in the day, remember possessed rhinos? Nobody could ride in them. I'm like, this is bullshit. Let me in.
I hated possessed rhinos because it's like ignores crew shaken, ignores crew stunned. What about weapon destroyed? Now I can regrow it. What? What's the point?
Yeah. Oh, I also like Gorhagen Squad. The +1/+1 for every other. He reminds me of the shitty 4 energy perfection Emperor's Children guy like this who buffs for a start, but he's better because with this set I can actually have a board.
Yeah.
Right? Like so he's pretty cool. I like him. But yeah, Archimus 100%. He's in. He's gonna get played. It looks like they look like good cards. Sustain Barrage. You know what? Let me revise my 5 since I'm now on like 7. I'm going to say Fortified Outpost.
31 of these cards.
Fortified Outpost, Sustained Barrage, Perimetral Defense, Stalwart Defenders. You have those cards. I think you've got a shot at building a deck with some teeth. Hopefully, like we'll see what happens on the ladder and what you need to marry them with. But you know, if you like building your boards and having long games, these are the guys for you, I think.
Well, what's nice about you can have long games, but they can end the game quick. Like when they get to that point, it's not like it's a long drawn out affair. We're like, okay. I mean, it can be. Don't
yeah, well, when you're shield charging like twice on an empty board, like twice for 7 or 8 or something, you're like, yeah, this is going to end.
Yeah. What are your other 5 there, Axel? Go ahead, give us your list.
Oh, is it finally my turn?
It is your turn. You may speak.
Alright, like I was saying, Ram and Phalanx definitely up there because I love those cards. Instant value for both of them. Well, okay, Ram's not technically instant value, but you're getting the card back at 4 less. You're going to use it again. It's going to be great. Fortified Outpost because it adds an extra fang to those sentry turrets. And hell, it does 3 damage for 1 energy, so I can still ping with it even though it can't.
Yeah, it's not even useless. It's so good.
Yeah, so even if my turrets aren't up right now, I'm still using it. That's my 3 right there. Stalwart Defenders. Have fun killing my sentry guns when suddenly their HP won't stop climbing. Oh, and I gotta give it to Lexandro. Simply because it's a heal all your troops. The fact that it's all and not just him.
It's not limited to Astartes or structures.
And it's not the other troops. Like he must be one of the only board healers who covers himself as well. I was going to say touches himself, but forgive me.
For 8 energy, he should, right? I mean, he
should touch himself for 8 energy.
Not? When he thinks about himself, he touches himself.
Another one of those podcasts.
It's weird. Listen, sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes things happen.
Sometimes we'll just slip one in there and that'll be that.
No, that's not usually how it works. It's usually constant.
Oh.
This is life we gotta live.
Well, depends. We got Barnet Legions coming up tomorrow, so that's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to make it, because I'm pretty sure, tomorrow night will be the ending session of our campaign.
Yep. Well,
so it's big enough where we can't really put it off.
Yeah, it's Saturday night, so that makes sense. We got.
I might be, but
the odds and evens, and a lot of us have been going back and forth. Do we do odds and evens? Odds for Imperial Fist, evens for Imperial Fist? I don't know what I'm gonna do just yet. I think.
What do you mean, odds or evens for Imperial Fists?
So the Bastion Legions format, odds and evens. So one of your deck has to be all odd cost cards, and the other deck has to be all even cost cards. Rad. Yeah, including the health of your warlord factors in. Survivor doesn't count, and 0 cost cards are not allowed. So it's pretty interesting.
Basically,
so
like
all of the decks are so janky because you're like, okay, these are good cards, and then like you take out like all the odd cards, and you're like, now I don't have a good deck at all.
That's a cool tournament format. That's fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Tomorrow, the weekly I'm playing in is doing preset decks like the old events.
Nice.
Actually, so I had to choose. I've basically chosen Santar and some fucking traitor who's not that good, but we're gonna make the best out of him.
So, like, you got to look at the deck ahead of time, or you pick the warlord and they give you the deck.
Yeah, he's gonna have to send me the deck tonight or tomorrow. But it's I'm Santar and the Myrmidon. And the Myrmidon
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Myrmidon's got potential.
Myrmidon does. Yeah, he's no Scoria. Scoria's pretty good, I think. But the Myrmidon's fun.
I
He's a
like
cool cat.
Mini Protorabo. Mini Protorobo's fun.
Well, I think the Mechanicum in general are the strongest neutral, in my opinion. I mean, there's good stuff in Chaos and Imperial, but like, if you want to take a neutral warlord, I find that Mechanicum supports them better, just because of the cards that Mechanicum has and the way Mechanicum.
They have so much synergy. They literally have cards like Herotechnica in other sets that give them synergy.
Right. Exactly.
So they're
They
doing
also
all right
have
there.
so much energy manipulation as well, so they're very like welcoming.
Yeah.
Some way,
Yeah.
one way or another, you'll gain energy back simply by playing them.
Yeah.
Unless you're proc,
Unless your
Proctor
opponent has
is-
no troops.
or unless you don't have.
Which isn't such a bad thing, honestly.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be shifting. I mean, granted, I know the whole set hasn't come out yet, but I have to feel like if any like Sisters of Silence are going to be a troop faction to some degree, they're not going to be a mono.
Maybe it'll be all about, instead of playing an army of sisters, maybe
Just
similar
one
to
sister?
a knight or a titan. Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
playing one sister.
I would like to do that, but the Sisters of Silence were not like a small force.
No,
They had a lot of people in their
They
group.
had a big, I could see it more with the Agents of the Sigilate being more of a
They-
tactic and
Oh, yeah.
infiltration and espionage.
Maybe you play one assassin or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
or
assassin.
one,
One
like,
more assassins.
Or like one, what are they called? Knights Errant, because it's going to be a mixture of
Yeah,
them. And
a knight errant, the different, like, I mean, geez, we could get Calexis assassin. We got to get the Vindicare assassin. I forget
You
his
got to
name.
get the Eversoul.
We got to get all of them.
There was a Vindicare in the Heresy series, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
they belong.
Yeah.
Spoilers: he does not have a great ending. I think most people in the series don't, but there was a whole team of assassins that they sent out to take care of Horus at the start of it. I forget the name of that book, which is a shame. It's Nemesis. That's what it was. It was Nemesis. It was the assassin's book, and they fail. They fail gloriously, but
Shame.
Yeah, but the Vindicare assassin actually managed to infiltrate the Vengeful Spirit, and he was still going to carry out his mission. And his story kind of goes over the course of, I think there's like one or two short stories that cover that. And at some point he's on the Vengeful Spirit for like years during the Heresy. And
Wow.
Yeah.
What a place to be.
Yeah, and that's exactly like it totally messes with him. Like he goes crazy psycho. Like there's like one like loyal ratting who like still believes in the Emperor, and like eventually like he ends up like killing the guy because he's like psycho paranoia, and he's got a chance to kill Horus, and somehow the aura of Horus at that point is too strong and he can't resist, and he ends up joining Horus, the guy who he was sent to kill as an assassin, like the most loyal.
How tragic.
Hardcore Bond. So then Horus, as in another story, this ties into the Garrow books, then Horus charges him with the duties to go and kill Euphrates Keeler, who was the first prophet of the Emperor, essentially. She was the first person to...
Saint Keeler.
Saint Keeler.
Saint Euphrates Keeler
Right.
to you,
Yeah.
scum.
So he goes to try to kill her, and then Garrow runs up with him, and then that's kind of where the story ends, but he like falls hard. Good stuff.
Can you tell me something, Scuff?
Yeah.
Tell me something that can make... Just tell me lies if you have to.
Sure.
Tell me Garrow
lies, tell me
dies
sweet
in the
little
Heresy
lies.
series. Yes! Tell me Garrow dies at the end of this Heresy series.
He
tell
has to. He has
Tell
to.
me.
I have not.
Tell me he meets a horrible goddamn ending.
I'm going to
I
say
hate
he
the
meets
bastard.
a standard
Okay, good.
standard death ending. He probably dies in an explosion that he couldn't save, so he like jumps on the bomb. I don't know. Where I'm at right now, I'm in Wolfsbane. So I've still got 5 books within Horus Heresy to get through, and then I have to get to Siege. And I believe, from what I understand, he's still alive at the end of the Heresy series, and he's in the Siege books.
He is, yeah. He fights Abaddon and the Sons who storm the
Oh, that's right.
in
Him
Saturnine.
and
He's
Endred
there
Har,
fighting
right?
with Endred Har gets killed though.
Right.
Abby kills him.
Yeah.
But and I think Ab too, but Gar manages to get out of dodge.
I'm okay with like
Bastard.
Garrow was one of those characters that way back when, before the Horus Heresy was even a series, and it was just like little bits of lore in the White Dwarf magazine or the Index Astartes or the codexes, there was a mention of a disloyal death guard, Nathaniel Garrow, like as an example of like not all of the legions were traitors. There were some good guys who didn't turn. So they've done a good job expanding his story. And I think
if you want spoilers, I can tell you what happened to Garrow, or what most likely happened to him, because we're not fully caught up, but what we do know.
Does he or doesn't he make it?
Based on what I know, he makes it.
Oh, he makes it through. Interesting.
Because in early 40K, he's working on a cure for the Nurgle's rot.
Oh.
Good luck.
Yeah, good.
Garrow.
With the Master Apothecary are able to cure a couple of their viruses, but every time you cure one, Nurgle makes like 8 new ones.
He's just gonna find a different way. It mutates. That's the way it goes. But yeah, like
that might be right.
His whole story arc, I think, got better towards the end, and I was like, because I read the Garrow book, which kind of compiles several of his short story novella excerpts, and like some of it, you can tell like the way the novel series progressed. At some point, the writing from some authors just got better, and they got a better grasp of their character and the setting. Like in the first book, it's Garrow just like right after
It's Flight of the Eisenstein, right?
Well, Flight of the Eisenstein was the first one that he was in. James Swallow is essentially the Garrow writer. So Flight of the Eisenstein's not a great book, but his first.
I've heard it's not a great book. Yeah, I've heard it's not great.
It's okay. It's okay, but it's kind of dry. And then the story that follows after that's kind of a novella, which is basically Garrow doing his first mission for Malkador, where he has to interrogate or like all these refugee ships are arriving from Isfahan, and some of them are loyal and some of them aren't, and he has to go and basically like inspect them with this total a-hole Custodes guy. And at the time you could tell that the story was written, they didn't quite have a good idea, like, what's Garrow's character? He's a good swordsman, and he really doesn't want to jack things up, and he wants to do the right thing, and Custodes are just so arrogant, but we don't know how powerful they really are, and like it just felt like it was written in a different era, and then gradually the stories after that got better, and you got a better sense of like, yeah, he's got Garrow's he's doing it, but gradually he's like, I don't like working for Malkador. I don't like what he's making me do. And you get a better sense of the character. So I dig it. I'm not a fan of Garrow, but I like his story progression and how it kind of helps tie in some unique threads for other characters in the series, like Rubio from the Ultramarines. Maester Varen's got a quick show in there, but the Euphrates Keeler part as well.
I don't think it sounds like we're not gonna see any of those guys in the Sigilite Agent set. We won't see any of those guys reprinted, basically.
Which is
unfortunate. If they're printed already, then they're left alone. So it's gonna be everybody but that.
Yeah, we're gonna get other characters instead. And there's a lot of them. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, there's only so many Knights Errant. No, there was only like 12 that like went to Titan with the Sigilate to become the basically the founding fathers of the Grey Knights. Yeah. But Malkador had like hundreds of rogue or homeless Astartes that filtered in to Terra through the course of the heresy, many of which you don't hear about because they died or they got sent off to do like things, or but like
menial errands.
Yeah, like this little short thing. Like, so we've already got Severian in the Orphans of War. He's just one. We've got Dravian Clade in the Raven Guard. He was a knight errant as well. Like, those are ones that you've heard of, but you didn't realize that they were. It's very I don't want to say prolific. It's a lot more than we expect. So we might see some names that we hadn't ever heard of. I mean, we might still see Iocton Cruz. You never know.
Would be nice. He was a nice guy.
Yeah. I liked him.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was your good old chap.
I was gonna say,
there was
like 70
friendly fella.
There was like 70 Death Guard that joined Garrow.
So. Oh man, yeah, that was another story on itself. That was in a different book where like you reminded, like, hey, remember all those other Death Guard that showed up at Luna with Garrow? Like, whatever happened to them?
Oh, I can tell you, prison.
Yeah,
They refused to join the Imperial. They refused to join Malcador's group.
Yeah.
So he just went, "All right, do you guys want to go in prison?" And he went, "Yeah." And then Garo went, "All right, I'll join them." So they're all in prison.
Yeah. There was like 4.
Garo, you silly goose.
At some point,
Oh, I'm about to hurt you, LCFR. You want to know what Garo's official title is in 40k?
No.
The first true martyr of the God Emperor. LCFR is loading a gun and flying to England.
I hate Garo. I really hate Garo.
What did he ever do to you?
Garo ruined my War Master. I would have been War Master if it wasn't for Garo.
He was the first warlord I played.
Garo?
After Loken.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was back when Garo started with an extra card.
Okay.
It wasn't as bad as
Vengeance. Make Vengeance last till next turn. Easy.
I
mean,
disgusting.
At this rate, one day we might see that return. I don't know.
Yeah, anything's possible.
It's possible. if the power creep gets out of hand, let's just throw it back.
Yep.
They might change Garo's
They'll
ability.
do what they have to do.
But, yeah. Let's talk about what you do when you're not playing Legions, because I think that's something we try to cover with players. So, LC, when you're not playing Legions, what are you up to?
Gazing deep into the abyss.
Into Garo's eyes in particular.
Regretting that time I didn't win War Master because of Garo. I spent a lot of time doing that. Actually, these days, so right now where I live, we're in another stage of full lockdown, and so a project I started last year when the lockdown started and when I stopped playing so many video games was a painting project actually. So it's an Age of Sigmar Chaos Army. But it's all basically scratch built converted, so to speak. So I've been mulling along pretty bit by bit with that. It's a pretty big ordeal. Like there's an Archaon piece, there's a massive dragon to paint. I do a lot of painting basically. And a little bit of sculpting as well, and I've added a lot of textures, I guess you can say, to these cats. So whether it's big goops of blood or using bush or a terrain basically from a craft shop, things like that. So it's a bit more of an involved project. It's probably going to be one of my last painting projects for bad guys anyways. And after this, I promise to only paint sunshine and lollipops and loyalists. But
they paint cleaner. I mean, if that makes you feel better.
They do. Yeah, they do.
It's fun. I love the layers of Demon Host. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, when you're painting a demon, I mean, you can have those crazy demonic fleshes and the different tones and whatnot, but it's like it blends together. But when you've got a nice power armor suit and it's just like uniform color.
I do have one. I do have one in Scepter Captain for when I need to take a break, because these guys it's a Nurgle army. I don't normally do Nurgle, but I wanted to make this to be the filthiest, most disgusting. They're basically like walking pustules with hair and like kind of antlers. And I've used real horse hair, so I've used all kinds of crazy texture. Like I've used chain.
I've used real pus. We're going.
Yeah.
We're going for.
Well, the GW technicals are pretty great for that.
They
but
are.
You can do great big trails of blood, whether it's on fangs or weapons, using Blood for the Blood God technical and thick UHU glue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to do
like strings and strands.
Yeah, exactly. I'll send you a photo of the mutant who's pulling my war shrine, because his back is just a big mountain of pustules, and he's basically hatching at this point. He's pretty foul.
Sounds fun. I like that better than I like Nurgle's aesthetic.
I used to be a Slanish guy. I was always a Slanish guy, but yeah.
To anyone who's listened to more than one episode in Discuff, this may come as a shocker, but I'm a very big fan of the Word Bears.
That's right.
The Word Bears are good. They're great.
They
stuck on the tabletop though, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're not great. In 30K, they're fun. Because I played a bit.
I remember my first game against the Word Bears. It was a multiplayer game. It was like a 3-on-3 game, I think it was. And I was Crimson Fists. My friend was Imperial Fist. Then we had a Space Wolf player, and it was like Night Lords, Word Bearers, and I think Black Legion or Iron Warriors. It was something like that. And I was like, okay, because this is like, I'm still learning all the lore about all the trade legions. So I'm like, okay, so the Night Lords are vampire things. They're like fear and terror and torture and stuff. So I'm like, what are the Word Bearers? And he's like, well,
There's that one kid who went to Bible camp every summer.
What it was this, like they were really holy, and they were like a legion of chaplains essentially, and they just summon demons. I'm like, okay, well, I've never seen demons on the tabletop before. This should be fun. And then he's like, oh yeah, we also get blood letters for troops, and I'm like, what? What is a blood letter? And then he's like, oh, check out this thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's got like power armor. It's got power weapons. It's got invulnerable saves. Like, just decimated all my guys. And I'm like...
It's unbreakable.
Yeah. I was like, I hate these things immediately. Like, your army will ever be the bane of my existence.
Chad word bearers bring all demon hosts. And if you're 30k, you can bring in some Ashen Circles. And, that's fun.
Certainly Ashen Circles are certainly very good in the card game, at least.
Yeah.
I played Emperor's Children pretty extensively in 40k. Never played 30k. But yeah, sadly, word bearers, no matter how cool they were, their abilities were always just kind of really dirtily.
Well, they were just
demon summoners.
That was it. They were like the vanilla chaos of bad guys, just like the way
they're a mix of everything.
But if demons are strong, you're going to see a lot of demons more than you're going to see word bearers.
Yeah. I wanted to play. I didn't want to play good guy Space Marines, but I wanted to play Space Marines to play Space Marines. I just wanted mine to be pink.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can still do that.
That's what.
Listen,
you still can, right?
That's why Demon Heart's word bearers. I'm still technically a Space Marine. Ignore the fact I have horns and hooves.
Yeah, they're good for you.
If it works, it works. Also, the crab hands.
I've got a few. Right? That's right. Yeah. I have a pair of. I've used them in a video once. A good friend of mine in the game, Steve, had got kicked out of the Legends tournament. He lost, right? And so I made a video montage with Elton John's "Candle in the Wind" playing, and then I wiped the tears from. I have these little crab claws that are like for fingers. I don't know what the purpose is. Obviously for a gag or something, but I have crab claws like the old demonette. So I wipe my tears with these crab claws, and that's probably the most value I've got out of them so far. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck I need finger claws for. Not yet, anyways. But this is the Eye of Terror, so I'm sure I'll figure it out.
That's right. You may figure out by the time you leave the door, you'll have no choice. They'll be on your hands forever.
They are my hands.
The door straight down. The minute you exit it, it's just you're gone.
That's just gone. You're gone, baby.
I like this, guys. Yeah, I actually like this quite a bit. This speaks to me.
It could be worse. It also could be better, but it could be worse.
Yeah, it definitely could be better. I mean, I didn't come in here with crab claws for fingers, but I'll take what I get and I won't get upset.
It could, yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could have normal fingers, and who wants that?
You could have normal fingers for eyes.
See, I was going to go with that route, but yeah, that too.
It's possible. You never know what could happen. Like Izzikar Orr. It wasn't Izzikar Orr. It was Penthu Dost. No, not Penthu Dost.
What happened to him?
It was
no.
Mott. It was
the guy.
Hather Mott is who it was.
Through names till we get one right.
Yeah, we're gonna go through all of them. Hather Mott was the flesh weaver, the guy who was essentially a healer, but he for the 1,000 Suns, and he was great. I mean, really popular event warlord.
1,000 Sun healers are crazy in lore because technically they could fix the butcher's nails.
He fixed Lucius, who had tortured and mutilated himself to such a perfect degree of he was no longer recognizable. And Hather Mott restored him to not only look like Lucius, but look even better like Fulgrim.
Even
himself.
Prettier.
Yeah. And as a result of that, though, he susceptible to the flesh change that started to take him, and the mutations started to show up he started getting mouths on his hands, and the tips of his fingers were eyeballs, and and then eventually he was lured to in order to avoid the fate of the flesh change, was convinced to make a slight alteration to that book that Aramon was carrying around, and then as an extra kicker, thanks to his intervention, he was transmuted into a keeper of the secrets. So all things.
Oh, what a treat!
All things chaos.
Happens to the best of us.
That's exactly.
Speaking of crab claws.
Yeah.
Speaking of crab claws, that's good. So you know what? At least if you're gonna sign on for that team, I mean, at least you want to get yourself some crab claws.
Listen, no one's on the Chaos side because they thought they wouldn't get crab claws, okay? People tell
Actually,
me that's a thing. Have you seen a Demon Nose? Anyone can get crab claws.
I think I think everyone who joined the Chaos team at first had no inkling of the crab claws and tentacles that were to come. That's what's so sad about it.
Showed up there like, wait a minute.
No.
I understand your objection, but I disagree.
Like,
I stand up for
you'll
the crab
get
claws.
amazing power. You'll have amazing... Oh, that sounds really good. What does it come with? Crab claws. What?
Oh,
no opposable
sounds delicious. Or
Hey.
maybe they were under the impression that would be what they'd get served. That's what they might be able to enjoy as a meal. But
No, you just
bummer.
eat the
Should have
souls
stayed
of
loyal.
random people. It's fine.
Delicious. Yeah, delicious.
There's no downside to joining Chaos. Remember that, children.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Wow, how soft I've gotten in my old age. Because normally I would be rah for Chaos, but yeah, I don't know. Call it just getting older, you know. But when you're getting older, you just there's things that you take for granted that you don't take for granted anymore. You're a little older, a little wiser, and the light of the Emperor's mercy is one of those things, I guess.
So listen, I'll advocate for Chaos enough where we can have as many dissenters as possible, but people will still come away from tonight's podcast going, you know what? Chaos is pretty cool. And that's all that matters.
If we can...
Chaos is very... If the kids
one
think Chaos is
individual.
cool, that's the gateway drug.
Chaos is a gateway
You
drug.
know, never mind the
Hey,
Warp
kids.
crab
Dust is a
club?
gateway
That's
drug.
pretty sick.
You start with Warp Dust, next thing you know, you got crab hams.
I never had to get warned about that at high school. There was no say no to crab claws. Say no to Chaos. It was...
Likewise, there was no say no to Warp Dust campaign.
Right.
Unfortunately,
That's
either.
their first
Got a lot of us
mistake.
in trouble.
Just say no to warp dust. It's
Say
just
no
like,
to Erebus.
it's like
You can't
it's like
stop
a cool space marine. He's wearing like sunglasses. He's trying to like appeal to the kids. Like, hey guys,
you. No, even worse, he's wearing a sweater vest,
he's
like a turtleneck.
He's in a turtleneck. Yes, he's an ultramarine in a turtleneck.
like, the first time you see someone doing warp dust, that might seem cool to you at first,
And it
And they
really
seem
is.
like they're having a good time.
but
And
they're
they are.
really not. This is your brain.
And then he brings in a spawn on a leash.
This is your brain.
This is
on
one of my
warp
old
dust.
brethren.
Yeah, this is what can happen to it. Any questions?
And then there's that one kid that goes, you know what? That ain't that bad. And then does
That doesn't look very scary.
Right. Meanwhile, he's got like a tentacle hand, like waving.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm imagining a snotty kid like in Jurassic Park telling the Ultramarine that doesn't look very scary, and then the Ultramarine literally does just pull a bolter on him.
Just shoots him.
Just executes the kid and then continues with the presentation.
Yeah, that's the way of the Imperium. What a terrible future for humanity. Oh my
It's-
goodness.
Nah,
Yeah,
it
it's
could be
really
worse. I mean, you could have crab hands.
That's worse?
Nah, debatable.
No, like, yeah, if I had to live in the 40K, I wouldn't. I made my choice. I think
Yeah,
no,
See the
no.
question
You wouldn't
on
for
like
long.
Reddit, people like, if you could be in 40K, what would you do? Like, kill yourself? Like, I mean, damn.
It's illegal
Yeah,
to kill
I
yourself, I'm
wouldn't.
sorry.
I guess even if you lived on Terra, the reality is that unless you're really upper class, you're living just to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right,
Terra's
you're-
worse than most high cities. Like Terra's not nice.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Oh yeah, Terra's like upper class are really high up, but mid upper to lower class are worse than any high city imaginable.
You've got to
Oh,
basically
no.
be born into the aristocracy or a navigator
Suffer.
family. Then you're made. But otherwise,
Yeah. Or
forget
yeah,
about it.
it's that or suffer.
That or hope that
Oh,
you're on
no,
like
guys.
on a recruit world for a Space Marine chapter and you survive the horrors of
Today-
your world. Enough that they would
Hey, Imperial Fist use Necromunda as their
they'll
recruiting
take you
org.
from that planet, force you through
Yeah.
life or death trials, then put you through an excruciating mutation process, and if you don't survive, you become a brainless servitor, or you survive enough to
Brainless
die
servitor.
in the name of the
They-
Emperor.
Not even a brainless servitor. That's too much effort. They rip your glands out and leave you for dead. Or they make
No!
you an aspirant.
It depends on the chapter. Like sometimes they'll turn you.
Well,
This is terrible.
If they already put the seed in, they'll kill you or make you an aspirant.
It's
if you
not
didn't get the seed in, then
Or
you're probably
make you
smart.
into aspirin.
Yeah.
Not aspirant. I meant to say aspirant, but I meant to say serf.
Yeah, if
Like,
you
you'll
don't
become a chaplain.
survive, if you don't survive the trials, or if you survive the trials but are not good enough, you could still become a serf. You could still serve the chapter by hobbling around, following them.
Oh my goodness!
Slack drill.
I want if you had to
a
put me in the
chapter-
40k universe, then just put me in as Malkador, because I'm gonna live a really long, awesome, badass existence until I get to do something also awesome to end my existence.
Be Oleanus Pius. Oleanus Pius, or
Oleanus
whatever his
Pius.
name is.
Yeah, he
He just doesn't die.
They got
But no, what was I going to say? Chapter serfs, like a chapter can have 1,000 Marines and then like 1,000,000 serfs. Like serfs are crazy how much they have.
What, yeah,
Like the Fang had a standing army of just serfs.
just serfs, but you're waiting hand and foot on the Astartes. You're still living a servitude life.
Oh yeah. You're definitely servitude, but most of them are cool with it.
Yeah. Hey, because they know what the other options are.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what?
There often aren't any.
Thank you
It's
for
'cause-
taking me in. I will accept this, good sir. Would you like
It's
some
because
bread?
everyone knows options A, B, and C, but no one knows option D for chaos.
Yeah.
If only they knew that there's a fourth option.
That's how
you could
that's
join
how chaos
chaos.
gets its hooks into you. That's how it gets its crab claws on you.
Yeah, don't want to be a servitor kid? No problem. If you don't want to be a servitor, sign up here.
And then you just try some warp dust and you're good.
And you become a spawn instead.
And
Well,
there's a
speaking of
chance.
chaos, Axel, I know you want to plug chaos hard. Is there anything else you want to plug? Let's do plugs.
This episode is also sponsored by Cornflakes, your yearly dose of iron in just one spoonful.
All right. How about you, Elsie? You got anything you want to plug?
What do I want to plug? Who do I want to plug? No, what do I want to plug? I guess, you know what? We may as well put a remark in for something wholesome and pleasant. I want to plug all the hardworking frontline workers out there in the healthcare industry who are working hard, and all the people who have to work, or all the people who have to work without paid sick days and all that jazz. I hope the world's getting on as well as they can. Yeah, let's plug them. I want to plug you, world.
Right. That sounds nice. I don't think we've had one of those plugs before. We should have more of
Isn't
those.
that nice?
Yeah.
No,
That's so
most of our
nice.
plugs here are me declaring war on a
Didn't
random
expect
location.
that. Yeah, Axel usually declares
Surprise,
war on
yeah.
Ontario, but we're here doing good stuff.
Yeah. No,
So war was-
surprise. This-
I declared war against Quebec, not Ontario.
Oh, Quebec. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, see, everyone
Fine,
agrees. Every Canadian will agree that Quebec deserves it.
Good.
Even when we had a Quebecois man on the podcast, he agreed with.
He's like understandable. He's like, that makes sense. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. They get it.
Yeah, like Quebec is just our enemies. We have an ad campaign for an insurance company that just straight up says the Quebecois may wear Speedos, but unlike
Are you from Ontario too, Axel?
No, I'm from New Brunswick. But
Oh my goodness, really?
oh,
I love New Brunswick. I go to Bathurst every year.
yeah, I have family up there. It's a lovely place. But
It is! Good
the ad
for
straight
you!
up says that the Quebecois have to stuff their Speedos, but we don't.
It all
Which-
makes sense. I'm like, who's this American who hates Quebec? I don't get it.
Oh, anyone from Maine.
Anyone from
Good.
Maine also hates Quebec, but that's unimportant.
Yeah,
Quebec
they're
is
close
their
to it
natural
too.
enemy.
Yeah. What
Quebec
a
is their
small
natural
world!
Well,
Well, in Canada's case, we just divide our provinces so big where I'm just 2 over, yet I'm very fucking
yeah,
far.
those provinces are. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you just we got
You're like a
50
16-hour
states.
drive away.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It doesn't
what
seem that big. And you go, oh, they only have 13 provinces and territories while America has 50 states. We're bigger than America. We just
That's
divided
right.
it all.
God
funky.
damn it.
Yeah, and every
Yeah.
single one of these states is different. It's not even like you can be. You should, some of the states, some of the big ones, northern and southern California, are totally different.
Like, ours are pretty universally, like, everything's pretty much the same across the board, unless you get to Quebec, because they're special. Quebec
The force
wants to
is
be-
strong with you, Axel. The force is so strong with you. I love it.
Listen, Quebec is my natural enemy. Especially because I live in New Brunswick. Once they get their goddamn week off in the summer, they always come
Yes,
here.
they
and just
fill the
ruin-
place up. Yes.
They ruin everything, and then they go home. It's just how it works.
When we drive over from Ontario, because my better half has family out on the East Coast. it's impossible to even stay anywhere because every hotel, motel, everything east of Ottawa all the way to New Brunswick is jam-packed full of Quebecers on vacation.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds
You
like
get
a
it.
movie, like Quebecers on Vacation.
Let's get into
the
it.
worst
Yeah,
part
starring
is-
some French Canadian actors I've never heard of.
There's handfuls of them. We could find plenty.
I'm sure there are.
We could find at least 3. Worst part about the Quebecois is they want me to speak their French when they come over here. I'm speaking Shack.
We're speaking
Have fun.
Chiac. Yes. We're going to watch
Yeah,
the
Crash-
TV and we're going to parquet le
Jake-
car and that's it.
J. Crashe Mosquidula. Like,
Scuff, you could speak Chiac too.
Do I just put lay in front of things?
no,
Yeah,
you, just
you
add,
wanna-
every time you don't know what a word is in French, you just say it in English. Or really,
Yeah,
it's
you conjugate it in
actually-
English.
Holy crap. That is exactly
You can
how
speak
I went.
French now,
I
bro.
went through high school French like that. That's actually my French
yeah.
teacher. My French teacher, no joke, like my second year, he was like, you talk French like a Canadian. And I was like, I'll take that as a compliment. I don't know what that means.
what you
Yeah,
gotta
they're
do.
a bilingual country, right?
There's an actual rule to it, but no one follows it. It's basically every noun you can put as English.
Yeah,
But that basically
if I
goes
didn't know
to
the word. I didn't
J.
bother looking
Crashe
it up.
Mosquidula.
I was like,
The
I don't-
only
I don't
rule
know
of
what this
Chiac,
word is.
Scuff, is there are no rules.
The only
J.
rule
Parque
is-
Makar.
Yeah, see, now you came to
Yeah,
the
j'ai
podcast
tassé le garbage là.
thinking about Horse Heresy Legions. You're coming away, learning a second language without very little else required.
You don't even need
that's
to
it.
know English or
You
French.
come to
to
the
know
IFTR
Chiac.
studios, your mind changes as well, your education status.
Gain crab claws and you learn to speak Shack. There's
Let's
no
do
losses here.
All right.
Mine's blown.
Well, I don't have much to plug other than keep your eyes peeled to all the content creators out there for upcoming Sisters of Silence spoilers. We're going to probably start seeing those in a week from when this podcast airs.
Holy hell, that's so crazy to think it's so close.
It's going to keep
So
coming.
soon.
Get hyped, stay hyped. This is the time. Have fun. And I don't think I could top LCFR's hype or plug, so I won't try. So this has been good. It's been tricky, and we've had some connection issues and whatnot, but thanks for making it on the call.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
Really much appreciated. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be a part of it.
Right. We'll have to chat again down the road. Is there are you still up for the Emperor's Children? We did the Emperor's Children card by card. Is there another legion that you want to cover?
I'm pretty me?
Yeah.
Me myself?
Is there another Space
I still
Marine
play
legion?
Emperor's Children now and
You
then,
die
but I do some pretty. I have some fun with Magnus. I call it Gandalf and the Two Towers. I play Pyramid of Photep and
Okay.
Mount Pharos.
I don't know if I've got anybody down
I have
for
a lot of
1,000
fun with
Suns yet.
Erebus. Yeah, Word Bearers and Erebus. I play pretty hard.
Another word
Erebus,
bear
I don't
thing.
think I'm taking to this. I don't think I'm taking Erebus to the World Cup. I brought him to the last one,
Mhm.
and he did pretty good. We got out of we got a bronze card back
Okay.
for that hustle. Most of the Trader Legions I have quite a bit of fun with. And now I'm a big Dark Angels fan. Actually, I enjoy Defenders of Caliban much more than Dark Angels proper.
Yeah.
So I'm on a pretty big DOC kick because I have a strong Luther deck available. So I'm pretty keen on them
Okay.
as well.
When we do
Yeah, I'm sure.
the-
I think there's at least a set in every expansion that I really enjoy quite a bit. Emperor's Children, though, I will say this: they're due for a buff pretty soon because they have not received a buff for some time. They didn't get a buff until it was over a year ago. I think maybe 2 years ago they've had a buff. So
Yeah,
their
I think-
time's coming soon
I think
too.
Night Lords might be before them because Modrum was the only thing that was included in the patch where the Emperor's Children got buff, where they got Sardarian enhanced and
Yes, the Judicious Squad.
Mhm.
Yes. And Fulgrim having back when Horus and Fulgrim got punished
Right.
for their initiatives, and now they're back to normal.
Yeah.
But I think for this World Cup, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing Canis, Luther, and Horus. So a little bit of everything. But yeah, I mean, I think especially if your goal is not, depends what your goal is in the game, right? If your goal is not to make top 50, let's say, the game is actually pretty open. Like it's quite compared to you and I have both been around during those times, Scuff, and perhaps even Axel too, where like serious discrepancies power discrepancies in the game made it so that only one or two factions really were playable on Terra.
Exactly.
Now it really is much more of a free for all, and even if you can't push them all and grind them all into the top 50 bracket, let's say, there's a whole world outside of top 50. So a lot of these sets, even if they probably can't win War Master for you, they're still quite fun and challenging to play. They're no slouches either. So. Yeah, if you guys haven't done an Emperor's Children one yet, I'd be happy to.
Well, we did the Emperor's Children one already, but if you want to do Thousand Sons, I don't think I've got anybody down for that, so we'll look to have down for that.
And the day that they do get a balance change, eventually for not Thousand Sons, Emperor's Children can only pop on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thousand Sons. I think they're afraid. They're afraid to patch Thousand Sons now.
Need it.
I don't know when they'll get touched.
Maybe make some of their troops not. Maybe make it so Magnus isn't a neutral deck with a few extra steps, and
agreed. Yeah, agreed. I look at it's. I've tried really hard to play as many different things as I can in them, but it just you can't do too much with every card under 4 basically dying right away, unless it's a Makita Cabal, right? I'm not good, guys, just not good. But they paid a heavy price for coming out so goddamn strong.
They came out swinging, and because of that, they've already tuckered themselves.
It's kind of funny. It's almost thematic. It's almost like the story itself.
Runestorm 2, they suffer so much now.
Yeah. Oh,
Runestorm completely defanged. I tried playing Korvax and Kabanda both. After I knew I was taking Luther to the World Cup, and then I just started. I'm like, I can give up 200 points on the ladder. I'll live. So I'm like, as long as I don't go too far past 4,200 down, I'll try different stuff. So I tried Korvax, I tried Kabanda. Just not very good. Just got off. I tried White Scars, I tried Hibukan and Chinza.
You didn't like
and
them?
Again, it's no. The whole set is basically paying a premium, I think, to individually is really great. I thought at first when they were being designed that they, even when we got a spoiler for the 4/4 Silver Blade Speeder, which then got nerfed before it was even released, I thought that they were okay. It seemed at first that holy shit, they're like Sons of Horus, but they'll be faster because they have the burn and everything, but they're just not, and Khan is...
Targetai is... He's in a...
Sadly, Targetai's Sacrifice was their only saving grace, because it was such a good tempo card.
It was
for them
really good.
That it's unplayable now, and there's nothing that really replaces it. So you try to get these little weenie, faster flank troops online, they're killed immediately, and nobody cares, if you can live until 10 to get your Outriders and your combo off, but they don't feel like White Scars.
That reminds
play
me.
Like White Scars.
The problem is
I got a con DCF for turning that entire Outrider combo into
they
Chaos
have no
Spawn.
unstoppable, and in an environment where desperate defense is happening, it's like if they hit 10 and they put down 2 front lines, you cannot win.
You lose.
Yeah,
certainly right. Even I think they died when the Targetized Sacrifice got nerfed to ribbons. They died a quick death then, but
it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't game over. But I think the way it shifted right now, I have fun with Hibukan. I have a pretty good record with him, but I'm also playing
them too. I didn't feel good enough to take him to the tournament.
That's fair.
I didn't feel I'm like I think in a tournament setting it's cool because you're not taking a warlord and crushing them through 50 games, 100 games, 150 games, just trying to
you're just
accumulate a crazy good win record.
You
just need to win once. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just got to win the match, right? You don't even have to sideboard potentially. If you have any warlord who has some viable win con, some viable game, even if they wouldn't last 10 games on the ladder, they can play a tournament. So Hibu wasn't a write-off for me, but he just, he didn't have it. The White Scars don't have it. They don't have it. Blood Angels, they have it. They're pretty good. Ralderon and Sanguinius.
Yeah, I'm building a Blood Angel collection now. Just because I was like, what? I like them as a gimmick. I like Landing and Requiem. I may as well try.
Yeah. And they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They synergize really well with each other. And
Ralderon might be a little bit too good compared to stuff like Tarek. Rip Tarek.
You know what they'll do, I think, to circle back to the original Legion, though? And they've started the pattern of giving usually giving one, if not two, epic warlords in a set
Right,
now.
the special card.
A unique starter card, right? Which is pretty cool and thematic, and I think they'll wind up backtracking on that.
It adds
they'll
a
give
good
one
layout.
to. Yeah, I think they'll give one to Abby. I don't think they'll give it to Tarek, just because of the importance of it. I think they'll give one to Lucius. They'll give one to.
They could give Tarek. They could give Abby that demon sword he has. Does he have
it's too soon.
No, he
It's
doesn't
too-
get that
it's too
until
soon.
after the heresy.
It's
yeah.
too soon.
Oh yeah, it's a decent bit after. I keep forgetting when he
Yeah.
gets that damn thing. That's a cool
Lu-
sword
Lu-
because it's not a demon in a sword. It's a demon shaped as a sword.
Lucius for sure will get that card because he's the only epic warlord who's at 30 health.
Not even that. It's okay. Half the Chaos champions have a special card so far, and alt skins.
Right.
Where's the other half?
He's due.
Yeah.
He's due.
Well, I
Lucius
think
and
we'll
Card
have Emperor's Children during the Fist saga at some point because we're gonna storm the Saturnine Wall and we're gonna do our best, and Dorn's gonna fucking kill a lot of us.
That's
so
what's gonna happen.
you know, we're
and I'm gonna
Dorn
be-
kills my Dorn
Yeah,
kills my favorite boy. It breaks my heart.
who's that?
He chops Zardu's head clean off his shoulders. Well, not literally, but Zardu Lilac dies by Dorn's hand.
Poor
I
bastard.
think a lot of traders end up dying by Dorn's
Well,
hand.
Dorn kills. I haven't read all of Saturnine, but I've read enough of the excerpts, and they're just so badass, right? Like I've read enough of them that I'm like, I've read the scene where Dorn finishes fighting Fulgrim, and then 50 of the Emperor's Children champions surround him, and he basically kung fu's the fuck out of all of them
That's
and murders
awesome.
them. And I'm like,
so
no!
I have to read that so bad. I'm biding my time because I know
It's like
I've heard of it.
Emperor's Children torture porn for me, like by comparison, because I'm like, this is so well written and so good, but it hurts me in my loins like really badly.
You want to know what happened to your
Yeah.
Emperor's Children? Dorn happened to your
Yeah.
Emperor's Children.
No,
And-
he did. He beats
And
the
then
fuck
after
out of
that,
them.
what happened when they were retreating? Karn killed them all.
That's what happened. It's so great. Well, we're at the
But
2
you know
hour
what?
mark.
The Emperor's Children after. Oh, sorry, we got to end.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
go
should
babbling
probably
about
cut
Emperor's
it.
Children.
We could go on for the Emperor's Children for a long time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, that's okay.
thank
Notes
you.
on you. This is the second podcast in a podcast.
We've done it. We've done the 2 hour mark. We've done it a couple times. Usually it goes a while, but we got a hot topic we can talk about hopefully some other time down the road. Thank you for joining us and being available, and we'll talk again next time.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Yeah, thanks for calling me in. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, bye.
Okay, take it easy.
Catch you on the flip side.
A magnificent ending.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Yes. Yes.
Shh. It's over. Don't fight it.